My name is Miles Sullivan, and the night my wife's dad tried to humiliate me at the city's most exclusive restaurant was the night everything finally flipped. He'd arranged a 6-person family and business dinner at Lou Ambrosia, the kind of place where the carpet is so plush you feel guilty stepping on it. I arrived on time, walked up to the maitre d', and gave the name, Hanover, Party of 6. He scrolled, frowned, and said, "We have 5, sir. Your name isn't listed." Before I could answer, my father-in-law, Richard Hanover, appeared, with his 2 sons, Blake and Connor, wearing the kind of smiles that belong in cautionary tales. "You actually showed up," he said, loud enough for the lobby to hear. "How optimistic of you. This is a serious dinner for serious people. Maybe a budget place suits you better." I looked at the maitre d'. He looked at me. I burst out laughing. "Be a champ," I told him. "Call the owner for me." Richard smirked. "You think Sebastian Cruz is coming out here because you asked? We golf together." "That's cute," I said. "Tell me which club, Thursday uptown or Tuesday downtown?" Color drained from his face. The maitre d' made the call. 30 seconds later, the room shifted. Conversations quieted. Heads turned. Sebastian walked in with the calm of a man who knows he owns the room. He scanned the lobby, saw me, and lit up. "Miles, you didn't tell me you were coming in." He hugged me, one of those quick, genuine half-hugs you only give friends. Behind me, I felt Richard's confidence wobble. "Chef," I said, "didn't want to bother you. We can talk downtown next week. My holding company's finalizing those leases." Sebastian laughed. "Always the businessman. Bernard, get Miles the window corner. If table 7's held, it isn't anymore." Richard tried to recover. "Sebastian, you know my son-in-law?" "Know him?" Sebastian grinned. "He was my business partner when we launched Stellar, before this place." "Co-owner. He funded half, ran ops while I cooked. I bought him out later, used the money to build Ambrosia. This restaurant exists because he bet on me." Silence. The lobby guests stared like we were better than their Broadway tickets. I glanced at my wife, Lydia, who'd trailed in behind her brothers, eyes glued to her phone. She wouldn't meet my gaze. We'd been married 3 years, and this was our pattern at her family events. I'd be the punchline. She'd pretend not to hear. We were seated, an extra chair slipped in between Richard and Blake so I'd have the best view in the house. Margaret, my mother-in-law, offered a frosty hello. The brothers resorted to smirks. Lydia stared at her water glass. A server asked for my drink order. "Your best whiskey, neat." He brought the good stuff, the kind you feel as a warm line of truth. Richard went first. "So, Miles, still fixing computers? Printers?" The chuckles from his sons arrived right on cue. "Close," I said. "I run a software and infrastructure firm. We build the back end that keeps national restaurant chains and hotels from crashing. Inventory prediction, payment reliability, compliance. Boring to talk about, priceless when it works." Blake snorted. "IT support." "Sure. If IT support includes machine learning demand models, systems designed from scratch, and advising Fortune 500s on digital transformation. But yeah, passwords too." Connor leaned in. "You expect us to believe there's real money in that?" "I don't expect anything," I said evenly. "But we did close a $60 million valuation last quarter and acquire a competitor. The Manhattan office espresso machine did cost more than a car. Guilty." Forks paused. Margaret blinked. Richard's jaw worked. "You bought an espresso machine," he said. "Cute. What's the company really worth?" 60, I repeated, calm as the candlelight. "Audited, revenue-backed, not fantasy." He stopped moving. Lydia looked up for the first time. 60 million? "Give or take," I said. "Separate from the real estate portfolio." "Real estate?" Margaret asked, eyes sharpening despite herself. "My holding company owns commercial properties. Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, Jersey retail, 12 or 13 at last count. We're also finalizing a $7 million downtown building for a new concept with Sebastian. Sebastian, circulating, reappeared with a plate he insisted on delivering himself. Wagyu, medium rare, touch of pink, on the house. Richard's hand tightened around his fork. You're telling me you're sitting on that kind of money and you let us think you're scraping by? I never said that, I replied. You assumed it, because I don't lead with a watch roll and a neon-wrapped car. I invest in things that grow, not things that shout. Blake's control cracked. So you're rich, now. Congrats. You win. Blake, I said, keeping my voice light. I've been rich. You're just finally poor enough to notice. Sebastian snorted out loud. A couple at the next table clapped once before remembering where they were. Richard slapped the table. You don't get to speak to my son like that. Then don't bait me with questions you don't want answered, I said. You wanted numbers. Those are numbers. He tried another angle. If this is true, why hide it from the family? I didn't hide, I said quietly. I got talked over. Every time I brought up work, the topic turned to golf, China patterns, or how to reboot the router. After a while, I stopped volunteering. I turned to Lydia. That includes you. She flinched. I was keeping the peace. For 3 years, I asked. When does keeping the peace become choosing a side? Her eyes filled. I should have pushed back on Dad more. You should have asked me who I am, I said, not unkindly. I'm your husband. I wanted a partner. Richard rallied, going for the kill shot he thought he still had. You talk a big game, but you're still new money in borrowed rooms. Sebastian stepped in, polite, surgical. 2 things. First, Miles has never name-dropped in this restaurant once. He treats staff like humans and tips like it matters. I can't say the same about everyone. He let the words hang until Richard looked away. Second, per our cap table, Sullivan Holdings still owns 15% of Lou Ambrosia. So technically, Richard, you're eating in a house Miles helped build. I hadn't realized I still held that slice. I didn't correct him. Richard's mouth opened and closed like a landed fish. Our waiter approached with the check folder. Richard lunged, but Sebastian intercepted. Already covered, he said cheerfully. Buy ownership. Tonight, that's Mr. Sullivan. I stood, lifted my whiskey, and smiled at Richard. How's the salmon taste knowing I paid for it? The dining room tried not to laugh and failed. Richard finally sputtered, You'll regret this. The only thing I regret, I said, voice steady, is not charging you rent for sitting at my table all night. Laughter rolled through the room like a wave. Blake flushed. Connor hid a smile. Even Margaret's mouth twitched before Duty snapped it back in place. Lydia whispered, Miles, please, let's go. I am, I said, picking up my to-go box. With my steak. Outside, in the cool night air, the city felt lighter. 1 week later, I was upstairs in Sebastian's office signing papers to buy the remainder of his stake. He wanted freedom to build new concepts. I wanted clarity and control. You sure? He asked. I don't plan to cook, I said. I plan to own. 3 months passed. An ivory invitation arrived at my Tribeca place. Mr. and Mrs. Miles Sullivan invited to dinner at the Hanovers. A handwritten note from Lydia. Please come. We need to talk. I miss you. I stood at the window looking over Lower Manhattan and thought about the hundreds of times I'd stayed quiet to make other people comfortable. I ordered a $500 Lou Ambrosia gift card and had it delivered to the Hanover home with a note. Thanks for the invitation. Unfortunately, I have a prior commitment. Please enjoy dinner on me. I hear Lou Ambrosia is excellent, though it might be outside your usual budget. Then again, maybe a burger place suits you better. 2 days later, my attorney received divorce papers. I signed, countersigned with a settlement that was more than fair, and sent them back. Kindness is cheaper than court. A year on, my days are full, calm, and mine. The downtown build-out is humming. My team at the software firm is growing, quietly. Excellent people doing unfancy work that keeps entire systems upright. I still stop by the restaurant on weekend nights, slipping into the corner to watch a room full of strangers create their memories over plates we get exactly right. Sometimes I think of that evening, the chandeliers, the cold burn of whiskey, the way a room shifts when truth enters. I don't replay it to gloat. I replay it to remember the line I crossed, from making myself small to keep a seat at someone else's table, to building my own table and inviting in only the people who know how to sit. My name is Miles Sullivan. The dinner I was uninvited from turned out to be the best seat in the house. Thanks for watching.